All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome back for another episode of the Ham and Cheese Podcast. And I'm Cheese,
I'm Ham.
and this is our podcast.
Ham and cheese.
That's it. That's it right there, just like the sandwich. We're back for some more. We're super excited. It's been a little minute. We weren't.
Do you want to tell everybody why it's been a minute?
Yes. I was about to say we were, but then I realized actually no, it was just me. It's just us.
Take the floor, bud.
Well, so Hurricane Zeta. It's Zeta, right?
Can I butt in for just a second?
Yes.
What is with these freaking hurricane names?
Guys,
They used to be cool, like Katrina, Andrew.
I don't know.
I even really enjoyed whenever they started going Spanish, when they were naming them like Jorge and Jose.
Pablo.
But what the hell is a Zeta?
Yeah, and then here's the thing, like
Couldn't you
I
have
don't
went
know.
with like Zoe?
Exactly. There you go. Or just like animals. Hurricane Zebra. I don't know. That's not so bad.
Or you could have just called it Z.
Here we go. Let's just do what they should do is just start doing band names. Like Hurricane Rush. Hurricane Pink Floyd.
That one's a little wordy, but yeah.
Hurricane.
I feel like Hurricane AC/DC would put off the wrong type of vibe, but yeah.
There you go.
Hurricane Metallica.
Yeah, exactly. Hurricane Metallica. That'd be great.
Hurricane Twister?
And then you just have some weird ones like Hurricane Talking Heads. The whole time the hurricane's going, there's just fucking like a beat playing in the background.
Hurricane Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah. That'd just be cocaine. It'd just be winds of cocaine flowing around, blowing in from the coast.
As it starts to dissipate, it starts playing Never Going Back again.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue your story about what happened.
Well, so Zeta came and paid us a visit.
Stupid name.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
know. And where I live, it's very mountainous. It's in the North Georgia
Appalachians.
area. Yeah, we're in the base of the Appalachians, and so lots of big tall trees around, and the whole area I live in is all very forested and hilly, and so just winds just took everything down. And for work, for instance, like I have to drive to the next town over in my van. I work for a internet service provider, so I'm a technician. It's super fun. And so I'm on my way to this next town. I'm going down this highway. It's one of those. It's a 1-lane highway, freaking curvy, just goes forever. Well, I am on my way there, and I pull up, and there's a whole bunch of cars in a line, and there's a tree down in the road. So like I turn around, and I'm trying to find like there's like another back way. I go down the back way. There's another tree on the road. So then I turn back around, and I go back. There's another back way that I know, and I try to go down that way, and there's another tree in the road. I do that like 3 or 4 more times before I have to go all the way down to like a main highway and do this 1.5-hour loop to get to a job that should take me like half an hour to get to. That being said, we had a tree fall right at the beginning of our neighborhood that just snapped a pole straight in half like a twig. It was nuts.
Jeez.
So the whole top portion of the pole where the transformer was just hanging by the lines, and the tree had just taken them completely down. It was a massive tree. I mean, it had to be like probably 3-foot diameter. I mean, it's big. It's just a big, huge tree.
That's either a really old tree or a very young tree on a lot of steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that tree was just beefed up. It was doing some gains. And well, so the whole reason that I explain all the other trees and the amount of trees on the road, trees everywhere. So that happened last Thursday in the morning. So when was that? Today's the 5th. So that was...
Yeah, let me pull up the calendar here.
I got it. It's
29th.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, the 29th. So that was the 29th. So that was in the morning too. So we woke up and we didn't have power. It went out at like 5:30 in the morning. So we couldn't have coffee. Here's a little TMI, just for anybody, just forewarning. My poor wife, Earl, in her beauty, she needs coffee not only to wake her up, but also to activate her digestive system. Like
and to also activate her need to give a shit for people.
yeah, there you go, exactly. So in multiple ways, the giving the shit part. So basically in a nutshell, she couldn't have coffee. It ruined her morning. No power. The worst part too is it's getting kind of cold. So like it was cold in the house because the heater didn't work, of course. So everything's electric, which sucks, and that's something that we need to fix in our next house. But anyway, so we lost power Thursday morning on the 29th. We didn't get power back until Saturday afternoon on the 31st. And at that point, we were so tired and we were so worn out. So, Earl hadn't had coffee, for 2 mornings. And on top of that, wait, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Yeah. Wait, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No, 3 mornings. It was all 3 mornings. And on top of that, it was like, we couldn't watch any TV. At one point, like when I was gone, and I work a lot, so like she'll be at home sometimes, and I'm at work, and she's just there by herself, and like her phone died, and her laptop died, and everything else died. So she was literally just laying in bed, just depressed because she was like, the power's out, and then on top of that, like all the food in the fridge went bad. Like we had a little bit of food in the fridge. It was all bad. We saved some stuff. But yeah, and then the other thing too is we've been really excited about streaming, and then we like just recently got affiliated, so everything's kind of been on the up and the up with the streaming. And then power goes out and the internet's out, so we can't do anything. So yeah, so
She literally messaged me on Discord, and she was like, "Hey, dude, power went out, and I'm using my phone as a hotspot." And I said, "Oh, that sucks." And then like 20 minutes later, you said, "Hey, dude, I'm out at work, so I have signal. Just wanted to tell you the power went out." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, that sucks." And then like literally maybe 2.5 hours later, she sends me a text in all caps, and she goes, "My phone's about to die," with a crying emoji.
yeah, and it's funny because like I say funny, I mean it's kind of sad, poor poor Earl. She just she didn't have anything to really do. And the other thing too is I don't know, lately she's been so, like I said, she's been so into streaming. So when she's not working, she just wants to stream, and I'm totally for it. And then it took all that away from her. So she just like laid there and she was just depressed. And like for literally like 3 days straight, she was just kind of just depressed because, there's no power. It's cold. We can't make any hot meals. And then anytime that we would go to town to get some fast food or something. First of all, it's fast food, so it sucks. And then on top of that, everyone else doesn't have power, so they're all going to freaking Chick-fil-A and Wendy's and Zaxby's. And so like we get there and there's like a line wrapped around the building twice, and it's like, dude, fuck this. It was like so that would be another thing that would just she would get there and she would look at the line and just be like and she'd be like just on the verge of tears. So not a good time. But yeah, so that interrupted the whole thing with the podcast last time.
Yeah, podcast got delayed, and we were actually going to film it what was it, Saturday night, right?
Yes, I believe so.
And you texted me and you were like, "Hey, we can still try to film it and get it out." And I was like, "No, man. After the week that we that both couples have had, we are going to take a break this week."
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't a bad. It was a nice break. Been taking a lot of time to figure out how to edit videos in DaVinci Resolve, and
Which
exporting a
is a
lot of
really good
stuff.
skill.
Yeah, it's been nice. I mean, if anything, like I feel like I've learned a whole lot of stuff, and um, it's fun too. I feel like I'm learning fairly organically, So it's a nice way to learn. I don't know if that sounds weird, but it's like, what I'm learning I feel like is at my pace.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I'm overwhelmed. Like I feel like I can do what I want to do for now with the skills that I have, and I don't feel like I'm necessarily missing out or I'm cutting corners. I think the only thing that sucked was I actually when the power came back on, we had power, but we didn't have any internet. And
yeah,
that was the other thing. I know, like, at a certain point, I was like, okay, well, we could still do the podcast. and I think my idea was like, okay, well, you'll record on your side, I'll record on my side. I don't have any internet, but we'll call each other or something. Like, I can call
yeah,
you
yeah,
over
yeah.
Google Voice. But, the break was nice anyway. But at the same time, I was, like, so desperate. Like, the computer came back on, but the internet wasn't back on. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Like okay,
Yeah.
like I've got to figure out what I can do. So like first things
Trying to hit the
first,
ground running.
right? Yeah. So first things first, like we had some movies. Um, it was funny. Like not to backtrack too much, but like what we were having to do for the longest time. I've got a laptop that my work gave me, which is pretty nice. It's not bad. It's a work laptop. It's like a little fold out like Windows tablet with a keyboard thing.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I actually kind of like it. But the important thing is, they have a cell phone plan on it and it's unlimited. So I totally use that stuff all the time. I use it in my van all the time to play music, because it's super easy to flip through stuff on it. But I brought it home and I just let her watch YouTube and stuff on it so that she had something. So she would just sit there with the Bluetooth speaker plugged up or synced up to it, just watching YouTube videos until the power came back on. And then we were doing the same thing, but with the sound bar, because the sound bar worked again, and it's Bluetooth, so that was awesome. But yeah, so got the computer working without internet though, so I was like, okay, what can I do? So I just started editing videos. So I just made like a ton of videos, and I was just like, just editing, and then the internet finally came back on, and I uploaded like 5 videos at the same time or something, and I don't know, it's been really fun. But anyway, I guess that my point being, during the break, yeah, I've been really getting into learning how to edit this stuff, and just I don't know, trying to figure out what I want to do with it all, which is fun. It's been really fun.
And I mean, I know that you text me every once in a while, asking for a tip about something, or you'll tell me whenever you figured out something cool about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think you're taking to it really well, actually.
Well, thanks, man. I think my favorite edit so far that I made. I don't know if you've seen this. I'm pretty sure it's in the first episode of the Animal Crossing New Horizons
Yeah, about
video.
peed my pants.
Yeah, when she's muted in the beginning and then it zooms in on her face.
Yeah.
Oh no, am muted. She loved it. I thought that she was gonna die laughing too. I thought it was really cute. But I had so much fun making that. I mean, I say that like it was frustrating for a minute, but like I got into it. Like I really did. Like the zoom in and everything, and like the frame by frame stuff. There was something else that I edited together as well. Oh, no, I'm just thinking of the Ham and Cheese podcast logo, or the little animation that I made on the screen. That little animation with the Ham and Cheese logo kind of shaking back and forth was also a little thing in Resolve, and that was more or less kind of a proof of concept, I guess.
Yeah.
But it also just kind of works nicely because it's just something nice to look at, you know.
Well, yeah, because originally, I think we even mentioned this on the first podcast.
Yeah.
This is the type of podcast where you pull it up in a window and you just minimize it because we're not going to show you anything on screen.
Right. Right. And then, on YouTube, we have to have the video there, and then so maybe on other platforms eventually we'll also just have audio only, so there'll be
Mm-hmm.
that too. So the video really doesn't matter. Um
Well, if there's anything where we ever want to want you guys to see something, or we want you guys to have a link to something, we'll put it in the description of the video or in the comments section.
exactly.
So
And then, I might just instead at some point use the YouTube to have like something on the screen instead. So, it could be like a theme or something. Maybe I'll just make like a cool thumbnail for one of
yeah,
them, or, something like that. But I don't think there's ever going to be any real attention paid to the actual video unless we decide to really change it up on the podcast past, kind of what we're doing right now.
we'll see. And for the people that are coming over from my stuff that
Mm-hmm.
have been watching me or know me, you guys are going to be a little bit surprised by this, but this is not my baby. I'm literally just the co-host. I talk, I give input on like helping him with like editing technique and stuff like that. But from beginning to end, this whole channel is ran by Cheese.
Well, I'd say I give you all the rights to you know change things around and make any adjustments that you seem fit.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying like that I'm cut off at
No, no,
all.
no.
Like if we're making
Right.
a thumbnail or whatever, I have input.
Yeah.
But it's weird for the people who follow me a lot because I'm the type of person where like anytime there's a new project, I want to be the one at the steering wheel. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I get that.
But I wanted to take it upon myself to pass it off to you because I'm trying to get to where I don't overload myself because I have that problem.
Well, hey, I appreciate that because it has been a nice experience, kind of just making all this happen, and yeah, I feel like it's almost kind of the metaphorical, um, you know, sword being handed down. I feel like I'm being knighted.
Well,
You know?
it's also one of those things where I would never do that unless I trusted you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. 'Cause yeah, I mean, it's like, and I feel like it's a fun experience too, just for the fact that it's kind of become a little uh, passion project of mine as well. Just kind of figuring it all out, editing things together, making it all sound good. Like one thing that I did, and this is really stupid, but this is just something that I thought was really cool, was I took the audio from you and me, and I spliced them together in separate channels, so it was right and left. But then
I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
yeah, but the thing is, like, what I did to make it a little bit more, because the only thing is you can't really just do like you can't do hard pans.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Like you listen to like early stereo adaptions of like Beatles songs, and you'll understand why hard pans suck ass. They don't sound good. They make you feel weird because you're listening to two different things at the same time. You feel like and then like depending on the speaker separation and the dynamics of the sound, like how it all fits together, the acoustics and everything, like you just sound like you're listening to two different things at the same time in two different places,
Mm-hmm.
and they go back and forth. So like, especially like if you have like people talking, like you don't want one person on one side of your head and one person on the other side of your head if you're like listening on headphones. So what I do is it's like a soft pan. So you hear an equal amount in both left and right, but then it's a little bit more skewed for one person to the left and the other person to the right.
We're like the angel and the devil on your shoulder.
Exactly. But it sounds more like, I guess the best way to put it is it sounds more like we're in front of you on either side of your frontal vision, like we're sitting down at a desk on the other side of you rather than me literally facing into one of your ears and Drew literally on the other side of your head facing into the other ear. You know what I mean? Like that's not how natural speech works. You know, I don't stand on one side of somebody and talk to them. Hey, this is a Ham and Cheese podcast, and then you're on the other side, just like you know. And
Well, I
I'm
mean,
Ham.
with me and you, it's very possible it could turn out that way.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that'd be an interesting concept. We could always do like the freaking Jimi Hendrix or David Bowie or something, and we'll just like some stereotropic sounds, like spin them around people. So I'll be talking and I'll like float around your head. And, you know, I don't know.
I hate that stuff. Like I love it for music, but I hate it at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird. And
It makes me feel like I'm floating.
yeah, right, and it's super gimmicky too. But definitely like back in the '60s and the '70s, like the late '60s when that first started to get big, everyone did it. Like it was all over stuff. Like if you could edit it in to where like the stuff would go back and forth or loop around, you know, it was some hot shit. Have you ever heard of quadrophenia or quadraphonics?
It sounds like a kink, but go ahead.
Yeah, sounds like something messed up. Like, ooh, I got in some quadraphonics the other day. It was nice.
It either sounds like a kink or like some sort of aerobic workout for your quads.
All right, yeah. Like it should be on the title of like a VHS tape with a woman in tights on it. But it's literally like it's so you've got monophonic, which is just one speaker, and then you've got stereophonic too. Quadraphonic is literally just 4 speakers, and it's basically
So that would be like one step down from like surround sound, because surround sound's 5.
exactly. It's the predecessor to surround sound.
Okay.
And the note being, so it's not, you know, a lot of people kind of don't think about quadraphonic because of the fact that surround sound basically, you know, it's far superior, and it kind of is. But the interesting thing about quadraphonic sound is that there was a lot of records back in the day that were produced with quadraphonic stuff, and some that it's really cool. They were mixed separately to be quadraphonic, separate from the stereo mixing. So that was very popular when it first started out, and I actually really couldn't give any dates. But like for instance, The Who has an album called Quadrophenia, and they use quadraphonics in the album. So there's and it's cool because you can get stereo recordings of the album that you play on a normal record player. But then like you know you can get a quadraphonic, player, like a record player, and you can hear it totally different. And the whole point is, you know, you set up 4 speakers around you, you know, just like you'd think in a big circle. And then, yeah, you literally just sit there in the middle and you can hear the music just going around you and certain stuff happening in front of you, behind you, this way, that way.
That'd be a fun way to hide instruments.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, back in the day, you know, think about this, like back in the 60s, like the late 60s and the early 70s, you know, not only were people doing all sorts of crazy drugs and, you know, crazy hippie shit and all sorts of, you know, new stuff and revolutionizing music and media and everything. But, you know, then you have stuff like this, and it's like, think about being a consumer back in the day and being able to witness something like this for the first time. It's like, whoa, that's like next level shit. You know, that's like audio surrounding you. You know, that's not really something that I feel like people have been able to really reproduce that way up until quadraphonic. So I don't know, just a really cool little piece of history, I guess.
Well, I mean, you know, it segues perfectly into our first segment of the podcast.
And that being the
2 albums that you gave me as homework.
Yes. Yeah, I gave Ham a little bit of homework, and I felt a little bit bad because I didn't want to make you feel like you had to do anything, but I really felt like it would be a really fun discussion because these are 2 albums that were very recently dropped, and I'll go ahead and just name drop them. So the first being an album by a band named Post Animal. It's called Forward Motion Godyssey. And you know what? I tell you what. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up real quick. I should have this ready, and I don't. But it came out at the beginning of 2020. I want to say it was super close to the beginning.
Now, I just want to tell you,
Yes.
whenever I listen to these albums, I
Yes.
structured these reviews by track. So I gave each track like a sentence.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Sometimes just a word, but sometimes it's a sentence.
Okay.
And then I rated the whole album out of 5 stars. Gave
Cool.
a short synopsis of the album and what I thought of it, and then I picked my favorite song on the album.
Dude, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's do this then. So, uh, let me give like a foreword, and then I want to go straight into what you thought about them.
Okay.
So the first album, like I was saying, is from a band called Post Animal, Forward Motion Godyssey. It was released in February of this year, 2020. It's a really uh, it's in my opinion, it's a very mixed sort of album. There's a lot of themes that come out in the album, but it's mainly rock and roll, a little pop, a little maybe even synth pop. So you know, a lot of a mix. It gets kind of hard in some places. The band's pretty cool themselves. It's their third album. Their first coming from maybe the middle of the 2010s. One thing that's pretty cool to note about Post Animal is one of the lead guitarists and writers of some of the songs is one of the actors that plays in Stranger Things. And I'm going to look up his name real quick. Man. I've got it right here. Steve Harrington, who is played by Joe Keery, is like I said, one of the guitarists for Post Animal. So it's really cool. One thing that's also noteworthy, their music, they kind of have almost like in my opinion, a 70s, 80s vibe that goes on, which is cool because Steve Harrington, I mean, not Steve, what am I saying? Stranger Things has kind of, I mean, it's set in the 60s or 70s or something like that. It's set in about that time. So it's kind of cool that, like, you know, they both kind of have like a little bit of a retro vibe going on. But moving on, so that was the first album. The second album that I wanted to talk about today was an album by a band called Beans. And Beans used to actually be referred to as Baked Beans, and then they just shortened their name to Beans. And even though they are named Beans, they're a really cool kind of psychedelic rock band out of Australia. This album is called All Together Now. It came out in August of this year. It's their second album that they've released through this really cool label called Flightless. Little note about Flightless. Flightless is a record label created by the band King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Another really cool, noteworthy band. They're super, super indie, which is another really awesome thing about them is they do everything by themselves. So Beans was one of their little bands that they signed on. It's actually kind of one of the guys that plays with one of the members of King Gizzard in a side project. So it's like a member of a side project of the project that runs the label. So it's like all these people play music. They all have bands. They all make music. It's really cool. But this album in particular, All Together Now by Beans, I thought was really, really nice. Their first album was a little bit more raw. This one came out and kind of threw me for a whirl because it's got a bit more it's got a lot more production value in my opinion than the first one. And I don't know, a lot of really good catchy songs and a lot of stuff that got stuck in my head for a long time. So I thought it was a really, really good improvement. But you know, they're just a couple bands that I've been keeping up with. That's really about it for the introduction. So what I did is I gave both of these albums over to Drew, and I told him, hey, Drew, I wanted to talk about these albums because I've been listening to them. They're really new, and I just wanted to see what he had to say, and I don't know, see about maybe how they hold up in music today. You know, how they compare.
Now,
Yeah.
I do want to say that I knew that for you to recommend this music to me, I figured you liked both albums.
Right.
So I purposely came at these albums with more of a like critic's point of view because you really liking these albums. I wanted to give an idea. I wanted to give a look as somebody who might be uh, sticking a toe in the pool,
Sure.
you
Right.
know,
Yeah. Definitely.
so that we could give the people like a very rounded experience.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. I like to, and I'm down. Totally down because I really don't don't really talk to a lot of people about music besides Earl, who hears plenty about it. But I'm always finding new stuff, so I'm very interested to see what you think.
All right. So I guess we'll get started with Forward Motion Godyssey by Post Animal.
Cool.
And the first track on the album is called Your Life Away.
Mm.
The little blurb I have for this one, and I figured we could kind of, if you have any specific things with the track that you want to talk about, we can talk about them. But the little blurb I put for it is very cool postmodern psychedelic mixed with very old school rock lead guitar.
Yeah. 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 That's a good summary.
Second song on the list is called Post Animal, named after the band.
Mm.
The little blurb on this one just says should be everyone's work or hype up playlist song.
Yes. It's such a powerful song. And I always thought it was kind of funny, you know, to be perfectly honest, the fact that they named it Post Animal. I don't know why. You know, you put an album or a song on your third album and you name it the band name, and but it's such a good song. Yeah, it's super. I don't know, what would you say? Like very like staccato. Like it's very like
Yeah.
chuggy. Like but
It's definitely one of those ones, like you could put it right up there with pretty much any early era where rock was starting to phase toward metal.
definitely right, like a mid '70s to late '70s type. You know, like pre Iron Maiden, almost kind of sad. I would say here's one thing about these kids. By the way, I say kids. I mean they're like around our age, but still they're super young. They're pretty young. These I feel like these are the same kids like us that grew up listening to, you know, like rock from that era, like Black Sabbath and AC/DC and Bon
That actually plays a
Jovi.
big part in what I'm going to say about one of the later ones.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Well, here, yeah, I won't babble too much, but definitely that was just something I was thinking
The,
of.
the third song on the album is called Schedule. I literally just wrote, "This is a good song."
This is a good song.
there wasn't there just wasn't anything where it was like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing." It was just like from front to back, it's just a good song. Like
It's a good song. I like the whole if you need me, can you fit me in your schedule? It's very what's the word? It's very much a modern like all the lyrics and everything is very leaning towards like a what do you call it? Like talking about the human condition or whatever.
yeah,
You know, it's like relationships in the modern day and how it's like everything's fast paced. Can you fit me in your schedule? You know? It's a cute song. I like that song a lot.
the fourth one, Fitness.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the ones that I was not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
I put mandatory trippy songs with too many space tones. It was pretty
Yes.
good either way, but nothing amazing.
I agree with that. That was probably also one of my not so much favorite songs. I think if anything, in terms of the album, that might have more or less been basically just a kind of a concept song. But
Yeah,
to be honest though, I will say this. On repeat listens, especially through the whole album, it does fit very well as a middle track, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And
Well, it's one of those tracks where that one's not going to be the one that sells the CD.
no,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, no, and but it's nice throughout, so like it's nice and flowy. It sounds good. The production is good. It leads well into the next stuff. But yeah, no, I agree. It's kind of just there, you know.
Number 5 is called In Paradise.
Mm.
Old school Black Sabbath vibes. Really liked it. Reminded me a lot of Ozzy.
Hell yes, hell yes, and that's exactly what I was hoping for because, yeah, no, that's where I feel like they really started to get into that territory, and they've done that before a little bit in previous albums. So, they really got that sound going. But I like how, here's the nice thing. I know we keep saying Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne, and it sounds, the best way to put it, it doesn't sound like Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. It sounds like someone who really liked Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. If you feel me?
Yeah.
So that's how it feels like to me, because it's like it's that vibe, but they're totally using it in their own regard. Like it's when I listen to it, I hear that post-animal sound that they're going for, but I'm not just getting black. It's not just another Black Sabbath. You know what I mean?
Well, it's another Black Sabbath, but in a good way. They're not like a Black Sabbath cover band.
Right.
They're doing what Black Sabbath was doing when Black Sabbath was Black Sabbath. Like,
yeah, right. But in a really cool way. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that song a lot. Number 6, I put The Whole Thing as a musical interlude. Nifty.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, the whole song is just kind of weird, synthy, warbly stuff. But I will say this before you go into the next one, just because it does lead very nicely into kind of the next one and how it kind of starts out. So I will say that's the only thing about that song.
Number 7, How Do You Feel? I literally put this song did not make me feel extreme, either good or bad. It's a great song, but would be a perfect background song. And what I mean by that is like if you're chilling with people or you're just like hanging out and listening to music, that's a perfect song to put on. Like,
right. I will say one thing about that song. It has a sick guitar solo.
Yes, it does. That guitar solo was mind-melting.
It was nice. It reminds me of some almost like Floyd shit.
Mm-hmm.
But just
that's what I was thinking whenever I was listening to it.
Yes, but just because of the bendiness and the high-pitched kind of squealing and some of the weird stuff that was going on, but like the flow was still there, so it was like it felt like David Gilmour does that. He kind of talks through his guitar. He kind of like, he just does these weird things, and that they kind of pull that off, but in like their own in their own way. Yeah, totally. I'll say this about that song. I really enjoyed that song, but just because it's super groovy. I thought if anything, one thing that you would appreciate is just the bass line. It's just freaking groovy. It's just a great bass line. Yeah, it's a pretty standard song, and I'll totally agree. Like hanging out, like if you just want some background music, something to put in the background, like while you're just chilling in a party or something in a group of people. Yeah, it's a good banger.
Number 8 is Safe or Not, and I put Semi Party Beat. Has a very Tame Impala vibe to it.
Yes. Yeah, that's another great song. There's actually an extended version of that song that I have too, and it's crazy. They just go into this huge synth madness. It's like goes into like a 10-minute song. It gets really Tame Impala-y. So I totally agree.
Number 9, we have Private Shield. I put catchy type of beat that bounces around in your head.
Yes, that's a good one too. I'll say this: I think it is. It would be a great song for an advertisement for an ExpressVPN. I mean, like a VPN, like not just ExpressVPN, like a but just like a VPN commercial.
Speaking of which, you can go check out ExpressVPN today and use the code ham and cheese for 30% off. No, I'm just kidding. I wish. Sponsor us.
Yeah, come on. We've already got the sponsorship ready to go. We can say
that goes for you too, Moon Pies.
Yeah, come on, Moon Pies. We're still waiting on your response. But yeah, I just like the song, how it goes, me and my private shield, you know. And
yeah, it was
and it's just funny. The whole time I was listening to it, I was like, ExpressVPN. That's just what I don't know. It made me think of that for some reason. But it's still a banger song. I like that song a lot too.
Number 10. I don't know how this is going to make you feel. It's called Damaged Goods, and I put this song is far too generic based on everything I've heard from them so far on this album.
Truly. Yeah, I do agree.
It felt like it wasn't done. Like it wasn't completed when they put it on the album.
Yeah.
Because they put so much work into all these other songs, and then this one was just like your standard 4/4, like...
Right. I think, yeah, it might have just been one of those songs that they just wrote and, you know, they fleshed it out a little bit and they didn't really have much else they wanted to do with it and they just threw it on the album.
Just as like filler.
I don't know. It's a semi good track. But
yeah, I'm not saying it's bad by any means.
No, I understand that. But yeah, it's not compared to the rest though. Yeah, it doesn't really compare.
And our last track of the night for this album is number 11, Sifting. And I put, we ended on another very solid musical interlude.
Yeah, another really long, drawn out, kind of droney track.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
no.
as a country person, one of the reasons why I've always loved Lynyrd Skynyrd is the 10 to 15 minute long musical interludes.
Yeah, exactly. Right. When they just go on a tangent for a while and they're just, you know, doing some craziness and then they just kind of fade out into something or whatever.
Oh, let me interject a funny little story here. So, you know that I play bass, right?
Yeah.
And I've also done lead vocals for a couple bands, and I've done backup vocals for a couple bands. Right. But I was playing bass, and we were at a bike night show, and we were playing Give Me 3 Steps by Lynyrd Skynyrd. We were covering that song, right?
Oh, nice, yeah.
Our guitar player that night started on his guitar solo for that song and played a 26-minute guitar solo and smoked 4 cigarettes while playing it.
Oh my gosh. How the hell do you do that?
I was literally pulling cigarettes out of the pack, putting it in his mouth, and holding the lighter up while he was shredding for 26 minutes. And we're not talking about like a guitar solo where he slowed down and then sped back up. He was playing Lynyrd Skynyrd style guitar solo for 26 minutes straight.
Okay, first of all, how much meth was this man doing?
None.
To be able to be able to do this. And then that, and did the calluses on his fingers like wear off at all during this 26 minutes?
This dude's been playing every type of instrument you can think of for like 40 years. He's one of the older members of the band that I was in.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's the type of dude where you could give him a shoestring and a spoon and he could write a whole album for you.
Right. Music just pours out.
He literally picked up a mandolin one night and was like, I've never played one of these before, and then played it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had friends like that are just blessed with, you know, musical prowess. Like they can just pick up something and then just start fiddling around with it. And I've been able to do that too in the past. I haven't been able to do anything with music in a while. But, God.
To get back on track, though, man, Forward Motion Godyssey, 3 stars out of 5 is what I gave it.
Cool, yeah.
I said, decent enough album, no runaway hits. Felt like at many points, many of these songs could have broken that threshold to become one of the greats, but they fell just barely below the bar.
Yeah.
Favorite track is number 5, In Paradise. I love that freaking song.
It's a good song. I'll say that's probably my favorite song as well. Yeah, I'll say this. There was a couple songs that I feel like could get popular in the right regards. Um, for the band, I think that the album really they tried to revolve around a theme because I feel like thematically it all fits together. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it all makes sense together, just in the theme of like where they're going. It feels kind of 80s ish, like like early 80s, late 70s ish. Um,
Whenever I was listening to it, I
mm,
had that a very similar feeling to that,
mm-hmm,
and I honestly think that if they would have moved, so I would have started the album the same way they did with Your Life Away, right?
right.
But I feel like they could have moved probably 11, so Sifting, and 10, Damaged Goods, put Sifting at number 2 and Damaged Goods at 3, then went into the musical interlude and all that, and they could have put either Post Animal or In Paradise at the bottom. That way it ended strong, and it would
Mm.
have probably came together a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where they wanted to end on that kind of long drony track where they flow out with that. Because that was like a big popular thing. I feel like, to be honest, they really tried to inject a lot of themes from past musicians into the
Mm-hmm.
album, and it's not bad, but yeah, I just it's hard to say. I feel like
Well, I mean, obviously, dude, take my opinion with a grain of salt because I'm not a professional musician.
no,
Uh,
yeah, I mean,
but
well,
I would rather my album go out on a bang than go out with a drone. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, no, I get that, I get that. Um, and it's more like you see like bands like Pink Floyd. They're like ubiquitous. They're weird. They do stuff like that where like the last track on the album is like a big long finishing track and then it fades out into this weirdness or something. And it's like I think people try to emulate that, and I think that's kind of one of the things that Post Animal was trying to do with this. Not necessarily straight up Pink Floyd, but something along those vein or along that vein. Uh, but I guess the best way to put it is like it doesn't always work out right, and I know not everybody is looking for that. I think they did it just for their own sake. So I guess that is one cool thing about the band is I will say that all the music sounds like they had fun writing it all, and they did a really good job of cutting it all together.
Oh,
Um,
you can tell it's their art project. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it was
but
it's definitely like you know well done, but yeah, it's also very like indie, and I'll say kind of. I mean, it's fairly retro-ish. It's got a lot of retro inspiration, but
yeah,
has a good modern twist. I'd say it doesn't quite fit in the modern aspect, but I kind of wish it did.
yeah. Well, and one of the things I want to leave everybody on before we go to the next album is if you're going to at least listen to one or two songs off this album to see if you like this band, listen to Post Animal or In Paradise. One of those
Mhm.
two songs. That would be the
Or
big takeaway.
or if you like poppier stuff, more softer stuff, listen to Schedule, or I'd say Safe or Not.
Yeah,
I think
both
those
of
are
those are also good.
they're two pretty good bangers as far as for if you just want something that's kind of uplifting. So
Now, I'm going to say something that is going to make you kind of excited to talk about the next album, I think.
okay,
In my review of the Beans album, I say that they remind me of Zeppelin and the Beatles at two different points.
yeah, dude, they oh the vibes I get off this band and this album in particular were tremendous.
I really like their stuff. So we're going to be talking about All Together Now by the Beans, as you heard in the foreword earlier. And the
Mm-hmm.
first song on that album is called Montgomery. And my little blurb for that was Zeppelin vibes, very late 60s, early 70s.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, very powerful, very in your face and jumpy. Um, in the theme, like the organ with the guitar and like the kind of, it's almost like orchestral,
hmm
but they have that kind of fast pace, like it's really, it pumps you up. It's really good.
Number 2 on that album is Stride.
Mm.
Gives me a great feeling. I would put this up there with Yellow Submarine by the Beatles.
Hell yeah. um, yeah, that's a really good song. It's a really upbeat song, and I like the fact that the whole time like the whole song, you can kind of sing along to it really easily. Like the lyrics are fairly simple, but they're also really good. Um, but the whole song is just the best way I could summarize it would just be like upbeat. Like it's just all like nice and upbeat. It's great. I like that song a lot.
Number 3, Avalon Speedway.
Mm.
Perfect song for a car commercial or for a scene where somebody's running from the cops in a movie or racing.
Yes. Yes. I think it'd be great. You know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like something that should be playing in like an old freaking like Speed Racer
Yeah.
cartoon or something. Like minus the vocals a little bit because they're a little bit crazy. Not crazy, but they're just like they're more rock.
Yeah.
But like the vibe itself is very much like kind of Speed Racer. I just love the.
I just love how it has that beat of like, it's like a speeding up heartbeat. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. It's like a boom ta boom ta boom ta boom. Yeah.
Well, actually, if you go back and listen to it, it starts out as boom ta boom ta boom ta boom ta, and by about the middle of the song, it's boom ta boom 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 ta boom boom ta boom 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 ta, like it's speeding up as the song goes.
Yeah, I guess I do notice that now that I'm thinking about it, but I didn't really think about that before. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's very interesting how they speed it up too, because they're not actually speeding up the tempo of the song. It stays a 4/4 the whole time. He's just doing more feels in between each beat.
Yeah,
because it starts out as a boom ta, and then by the end of it, he's going boom ta ta boom boom ta ta boom ta ta boom boom ta ta, like he's just filling the gap in the middle.
Yeah, and then I like how at the end the singer is just like is not even singing words anymore. He's just going. It sounds like they're having so much fun. That's the one thing about like this album is like the vibe that I get is like really fun studio work. Like it's got a lot of feel to it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it pretty exceptional.
Moving forward, we got track number 4, which is Melt. I put very chill song, but it's missing something.
Yeah. I'll say that. I'll say
you can't even really put your finger on what's missing. There's just like something that would make that song amazing, but like I can't figure out what it is.
I feel like it would have to be something along the lines of, it has to maybe lead into something or do something.
Well, I was actually thinking that it would be really cool if they could have got like a church choir in the background of it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
It felt like it had a really good foot forward, but it just didn't have like the filler in the back. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, excuse me. I get that. Yeah, it's very once again droney. Like that's one thing that some of these bands that I've sometimes I actually, I don't know, it must be something about me. But like I don't know, that sound is very interesting to me because it's just like they'll play like the same note kind of in repetition while they're doing something else, or they'll keep like the same rhythm going for like a long period of time, and they'll just kind of be doing something, and then they'll, he'll put some kind of crazy effect on his vocals, and I don't know, it's a very weird thing. I'll say this, it's nice on the ears to listen to, like just when you're chilling, just vibing, you know.
Yeah.
But definitely not like a banger of any sorts. I'll say one other thing about the song before I let you continue on. It is a nice kind of pump on the brakes after the first three.
Yeah. You definitely need that slowdown because after Avalon
Yeah.
Speedway, you really need to slow the album back down. Otherwise, you're going to end up being thrash metal by the end of
You're gonna cause some freaking heart attacks. Some old
Number
dude's gonna be
5
listening to it and be like, "Oh, it's too much."
is Get It Right. I put Let's See If They Can, just because the name is Get It Right.
Yeah.
The lead guitar is the front man for the song, which is really cool. The lead and the vocals actually flip spaces, so the vocals are filling in the gaps where the lead isn't singing anymore. And what I mean by lead guitar singing is, in some songs, you see this a lot with Rush, actually, where the bass will come in, and whenever the bass comes in, the bass and the lead guitar kind of switch places.
Right.
And it's the same idea here with the lead guitar and the vocals, which I thought was really, really cool. And I put very solid work by the lead guitar and very solid work by the vocalist accompanying the lead, because that's actually really hard to do.
Yeah, that kind of synchronicity where they kind of go
They were
back
like
and
talking
forth.
to each other,
It's like a duet almost.
but with an instrument and a voice.
Yes. And yeah, I'll even say it was, Led Zeppelin was very infamous for that, definitely back in the day. Just because oh God, I'm spoofing so hard right now. Oh, Jimmy Page. Correct? Right?
I think so.
Yeah, Jimmy Page. It's got to be Jimmy Page. He would do the same thing with his guitar. Like, he would just talk through it, kind of. Because he would like.
Yeah, Jimmy Page. I'll tell you who else was really, really good at that. Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he would just freaking just make also, and in that, and Jimi Hendrix, of course. I think if anything, I don't want to say Stevie took it from Jimmy, but I'll say this: I think their play styles are very similar, but just in the amount of creativity. It's just all about like just kind of throwing something in and feeling it out and being able to incorporate it back into something else. Like, it's just nuts. Like, I don't know. I wish I could have seen Jimi Hendrix play with his teeth live. That'd be freaking nuts. Yeah.
Who do you think, just off the top of your head, is the best blues guitarist of all time?
Oh, best blues guitarist of all time. That's a really good question. I'd say, there's a lot of good answers. Stevie Ray Vaughan is an amazing blues guitarist, that's for sure.
But then you also have to take into consideration, like, Stevie Ray Vaughan might be the most talented, but then you got guys like B.B. King, who, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be a Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Right.
You get what I mean?
Right. Well, and then like I know in my opinion, like another big noticeable guitarist, and I wouldn't say this is as much blues, but Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits.
Okay.
He's a excellent guitarist as well, and Dire Straits kind of started out very blues-esque. They kind of it's very rock, but kind of with that roots rock, blues rock kind of feel to it. And man, he could riff. And there was concerts back in the day where he would just, especially like you know that song Sultans of Swing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he would just go ham for forever. You take that song and it'd go for half an hour, and it'd just be madness. Like, and then the crazy thing about Mark is like he can hit those crazy, like just the crazy scales and leads, and kind of make the guitar sing as well, kind of like 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 really quick crazy shit. I don't know. But as far as best blues guitarist, I don't know. I'd say I don't know. I don't know if I could give you an answer.
My two picks, because I have two. My second place pick is really close to my first. But my first is Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's my favorite blues guitarist of all time.
Right.
And my second pick is actually still alive today and making music. And it might actually surprise you, maybe. I don't know if you know too much about him. But it's John Mayer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a great guitarist. Have
you ever seen his blues solos?
Yes. Yeah, I've seen him.
Gosh. He will melt your face off.
Yeah. He's an amazing guitarist. The only thing about John Mayer is I think he's kind of self-absorbed a little bit, but he's still really good.
I mean, I said best meaning talent, not best meaning the best person.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's not the competition. He is definitely an amazing guitarist. He can out guitar some of the best. I mean, he's got amazing talent. I think he sold his soul, personally.
I mean, tell me where to sign up. But anyway,
exactly. I can't
get back on track.
I can
number
do
6.
I have red hair, so I can't sell my soul.
You don't have one.
Exactly.
You don't have one.
Yeah, I know.
Number 6 is called Repeat. I put catchy enough, but nothing super special about it.
Yeah.
It's another one of those middle of the album songs.
Yeah. Yeah, that the like the keyboard stuff in the song is kind of cool, but it's not it's not anything amazing, but I like that song quite a bit myself.
Yeah, I mean, of course, whenever I say nothing special about it, I'm not saying it's horrible.
No, right.
I'm saying like it's just a serviceable song.
Right, yeah, no, definitely.
Number 7, I put the synth in this one is really cool.
Wait, which one was that again? Number 7?
Ain't It?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Gotcha.
I was listening to these songs through my I have a surround sound set up with my computer.
Oh, cool, yeah. Oh, that's nice.
And I had everything turned up pretty loud, and with my bass speaker, the synth was coming through, so it was just like really heavy. Like
no, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. There's good amount of bass on a lot of the songs in the Beans album, as of course, as well as the Post Animal album.
Yeah, actually, in one of the later songs, the bass gets a little bit too crazy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
But with the synth, it was another one of those very serviceable songs where it's like not a big standout, but it's not bad. It's a cool chilling song.
Right. Yeah, the later part of the album gets a little bit more chill.
Number 8 is Street Troll, and I put this has a very modern rock feel, which is kind of out of place for the rest of the album, but it's not bad. If you took this song as a single, it is very good.
Yes.
But as far as the whole album tying together, it's like out of place a little bit.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's one of those songs where, you can kind of start to understand when you realize it's the second album from the band, and they're still kind of, I think, throwing things out to see what catches. So that might have just been one of those things. I think it was a song that they probably went in on and thought maybe this, will catch some attention, and they're just seeing how it fares, I guess.
Well, yeah, definitely. Like I said, man, if you took it as a single, it's amazing. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also looking at it as like tying the whole album together because you want to like everything needs to like vibe together. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, truly, right.
And number 9 is "Lay It Out," and I put
Mm.
bass was very overpowering on this one, perhaps a little bit too much so. It could have been on purpose, but it is definitely not welcomed. If you're going to have a bass line as a backbone of your song with only one note, that is fine, but it's way different if you put it up front playing only one open note.
Yeah, yeah, very much, very much another kind of concept song, a little bit like an experiment.
Well, see, that's the thing though, because he was up front. The bass player is very up front in this song, but he's riding one note really hard. And I think that, and this is just honestly, I mean, it could be a concept song, but it kind of sounded like it was maybe just mixed improperly.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I could see that.
Like they had the bass turned up too high. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and I mean that kind of thing does happen.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. It is an indie group, so it's more likely to happen.
But that doesn't mean it's a bad song. I was just saying, if you're going to ride one open note, put it in the background. Like,
right. Yeah. No, yeah, I get that.
it was open A, by the way. Just
Open A.
he was riding the crap out of it too.
Yeah, as you
But
do. I feel like once again that's one of those concepts in songs that, especially over the years, we don't really see much of anymore. But it used to be one of those things like, a lot of songs would just adopt that, where the song starts out where it's just, kind of one note, or a couple notes in slowly in repetition, and then it kind of leads into something. It's a weird kind of it's more ambient, I guess is the best way to put it, like more droney is like the only way I can describe it, really.
yeah, well, like it's one of those things where if I was mixing that album, I would have set the bass as the bass guitar as the bass, as in BASE, of the song.
Right.
That way, it would have been like the don da don da don da don da don, and then I would have had the lead guitar basically dancing on top of that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah,
to kind of mask the fact that it's just repetitious.
Yeah, right.
But I put, for all together now, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Oh, nice.
This album didn't have any like runaway hits where you're going to hear it on the radio tomorrow or anything. Mm-hmm. I recommend it though because it is way above average, and my favorite track is number 2, which is Stride, which is the one that I put up there with Yellow Submarine by the Beatles.
Hell yeah, dude, that's awesome. I love that song. You by any chance watch any of the music videos?
I actually didn't. The way I set it up is last night I was sitting here in my chair after you sent them over to me, mm-hmm. and I literally just turned them on and turned my surround sound up and just sat here and chilled and listened to them.
Cool. Hey, that's the way it's supposed to go. That's awesome, dude. I'm so happy that you did that too, because yeah, those are 2 albums that I've been kind of floating through my head a lot lately, and 2 bands that I've been paying a lot of attention to, and so definitely wanted to just throw them at you, because we haven't really talked a whole lot about music, and if anything, I feel like that's actually kind of a cool thing, because it kind of leaves this whole air of what we think about music, kind of open discussion, and I like that, because it's kind of boring when you just hang out with people that like exactly the same thing that you like.
Yeah.
Every now and again, it's just you got to throw things out there, wow, what was I gonna say? Yeah, both of those albums, I feel like weren't really necessarily things that would be necessarily popular today, but very fresh, and and very nice albums. Um, nothing with and like you said, nothing with specific takeaways per song. But that's how I usually look at it. Is it's like as an album, it's solid. They're nice, solid albums.
I will say this: I haven't listened to the Beans' first album, right?
Right.
But listening to All Together now, it reminds me of whenever you go back and you listen to like Aerosmith or like Led Zeppelin, and you listen to their albums before they got that one that exploded.
Right.
I
Right.
really feel like the Beans are on the verge of exploding, like becoming super popular.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see that. And you know what's crazy about the whole thing with Beans? Um, so I touched on this earlier. They're on this label called Flightless, and Flightless is ran by um, basically this band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Um, so really cool group. They're all it's an Australian group. Um, the drummer for the band for King Gizzard is the one who actually manages the whole label, and then the band themselves are actually basically just an amalgamation of artists that you know have their own side projects. So it's 7 dudes. King Gizzard itself as a band is like 3 guitarists, 2 drummers. Crazy
That's
enough.
cool.
Yeah, and then bass player, and then one of the guys that does like keyboards and stuff, and sometimes he plays guitar, but then he also plays the harmonica a lot. And that's just his thing. Like they just have tons of song where there's just crazy harmonica riffs in the background and shit. And it makes it sound crazy. But anyway, the main point is, so like in the band, like I said, there's like 7 dudes, and then like one of the guys, his name is Ambrose, which is a awesome name. But he has his own band called the Murlocs. And they're really cool. Have you ever heard of them by any chance?
The name sounds really familiar.
It's Murloc. At some point, was I think like an enemy in some sort of game, or it might have even been D&D.
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. There you go.
They're these little bitty lizard guys.
Yeah, yeah. And so the Murlocs is a really really cool band. That'd be another cool band. I'll have to send you something from them maybe later. But anyway, so that's like a side project. And then they have another side project by another member of King Gizzard called Pipe Eye, and he's got his whole thing that he does. And then there's other people, and then like they have other artists that they've signed on. But Beans, the band Beans, that used to be called Baked Beans. The guy that writes almost all the music for the band is the either the guitarist or the drummer. I want to say he's the guitarist for the Murlocs. So it's kind of funny. He's like a side project of a side project, kind of King Gizzard.
Yeah.
But it like I said before, it's just crazy that it's just all these dudes. It's all these dudes and chicks, and they're all super awesome and super Australian, and they all just write music. And I'll just name some of the bands, because it's like you've got King Gizzard, you've got the Murlocs, Baked Beans, Pipe Eye. There's a group called the Orb that was signed on there for a while too. One called Amel and the Sniffers. They do punk. There's a girl named Lay Senor. She's super, super good, kind of folky. And then I'm blanking right now. But a lot of other really cool little artists that have popped up over the years. And one cool band called the Babe Rainbow. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Super hippie. It's like crazy hippie vibes. I'll have to send you one of their albums too, maybe, to check out. But it's just nuts. They're all Australian. They're all indie dudes, and they're all on a label together. And they've all got like these kind of early kind of 70s ish vibes and stuff going on. And the cool thing is like they do their thing, you know what I mean? Like they're just making music and it's awesome. And it's not like a big record label where they're just like focused on profits only. Like they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
I think like one of the coolest things is like even like King Gizzard, like the main kind of focus, you know, they released an album back in 2017 or 18. But the entire album, it's a nice 45-minute album, is completely copyright free.
That's cool.
It was made for the public, and the whole point being that anybody could go and make their own copy and use it any way they wanted to. And people actually, you know, did that, and there's actually certain record labels out there now who started their label by pressing copies, like record copies of this album to generate sales, and then they started a label. And I literally there's one label in particular. It's kind of cool. They're called Needle Juice Records. It's kind of like Beetlejuice, but needle, you know, because it's like a record needle.
Yeah.
And so Needle Juice Records, it's really cool. If you look them up, you can find their catalog, and they'll show you like how many releases they put out, and like the catalog numbers of the releases. And the very first one is King Gizzard album, and it's a free album. And that's how they started. They started by releasing that album on by King Gizzard because it was free. But then they got people to pay for the record copies, and then with the sales, they started their label.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's cool stuff. I enjoy stuff like that with just indie groups that do their thing. So you can't bump against the microphone.
To kind of help segue us into the next part of the podcast, you were talking about, you know, indie record labels.
Yeah.
There is also an indie video game production company, kind of like that.
So,
it's called Legacy Run Games, or Limited Run Games, sorry. And they basically take games that aren't supposed to have a physical release, and they make one.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so that you can get a physical copy and have it. And they make games for Xbox One, PS4, and Switch, I think.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm going to actually pull up their website on my phone so I can tell you what they have in stock
also,
at the moment.
Sorry to all the listeners. There's probably a couple little bumps. Oh, Zoe is literally in my lap, pushing. I gotta let her out of my lap. She's pushing my microphone around with her nose.
Zoe's his pet cat.
Sorry, she was in my lap, and we have these little kind of articulating microphone arm things. And she's literally sitting there pushing her nose against the bottom. It's like pushing it out of my face. And sorry about there's probably going to be a whole bunch of little bumps in the audio.
It's all good.
But you were talking about
limited run games.
Yes, the ones that have the physical copies.
Yeah, so, like, for example, everybody knows there's games that come out, you know, digitally that you can't get physically. And
right.
If you're like me and you like collecting physical games, that's kind of a pain. But, for example, they have, like, Doom 64. They put a physical release for the Switch.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's two different versions you can get. For $24.99, you can get just a regular Switch case, so it just looks like the rest of your Switch games.
Oh, yeah.
Or
nice.
For $54.99, you get two cases, and the outer case looks just like a Nintendo 64 case, except it has the Switch logo on it.
Oh, that's sweet. So then you can hide it with the rest of your Nintendo 64 stuff.
Yep. That's pretty cool.
I like that a lot.
But they do limited runs, so like that's the reason why they're called limited run games, is because they obviously don't have the license to just print these as much as they want.
Right.
So they sign on for like 200 or 1,000 or whatever, and then they'll post on Twitter and be like, "Hey, we got 1,000 copies of Doom 64."
Huh.
You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right. That's crazy.
But they
Um.
ended up becoming pretty popular, and they're actually the ones that did the original press release for Undertale, and they're doing the physical release for Stardew Valley that's going like public, like they'll be printing them for stores like Target and stuff.
Oh wow. That's nuts. Um. I thought Stardew Valley was already printed physically.
No, it's coming out this month.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Um. Is that the first time that? I guess that's probably the first time that Stardew Valley's ever had a physical release, right?
It was physical on the PS4.
Oh, it was on the PS4.
Uh huh.
Huh.
That's where I played it for the first time.
Oh, really? I
Mm-hmm.
always thought it was a wow, I always thought it was a Steam original.
It originally did release on PC, and then about 6 or 8 months later, it came out on Xbox because PC and
Mm.
Xbox are kind of interchangeable.
Okay,
And
right.
then
Okay.
a couple months after that, it came out on PS4. But to celebrate it coming out on the PS4, Sony had a bunch of physical editions of it made
Oh, okay.
as like a way to get people to like, hey, check it out. You know.
Right. God, when did Stardew Valley come out?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a really, really good game though. If anybody hasn't played it, I would definitely recommend picking it up.
If if you don't have anything to do with your life, if you just
Like me.
want if you just if you just want to throw away hours into a hole and just like completely live in a whole different life, then yeah, Stardew Valley is amazing. It's like
February 2016.
2016. Wow, that's crazy.
And it comes out physical on Switch tomorrow,
It's
which is
there's
November 6th.
and there is so much to do in Stardew Valley. That's why, like I was saying, it's just you can pour so much into it. And I played a whole lot of Stardew Valley, on the
If
PC.
you enjoy Minecraft or you enjoy Animal Crossing, you will enjoy Stardew.
Oh yes, it's basically uh, Minecraft crossed with Animal Crossing, crossed with
Harvest Moon.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Yep, definitely.
It's
De-
really, really good. I totally recommend it. It was made by one person. The whole
mhm.
development team is just one guy. He wrote all the code, did all the assets, and wrote all the music.
Wasn't it like originally made in like RPG Maker or something?
No, he was doing another project in RPG Maker, which gave him the idea for Stardew Valley.
Mm. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, I know it's when I first saw Stardew Valley, to be perfectly honest, I thought it was just like another RPG Maker, like type of some sort of game like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started playing it, and I just got so freaking hooked because there's so much more. It literally encompasses. Here's the cool thing about Stardew Valley. It literally encompasses all of the modern tropes of a sandbox game,
Mm-hmm.
of an RPG sandbox game. Sorry.
Yep.
So it's a very satisfying game, definitely.
And I think it's just really awesome that the one guy made it by himself,
Mm-hmm.
and he couldn't even test play it because he always like thought that it was bad the whole time he was making it.
Really?
And so yeah, so he would make his girlfriend test play it,
Mm. Oh,
and at
that's
one
hilarious.
point he deleted the whole thing.
Huh?
He
Really?
deleted the whole game. Yeah.
Wow.
Because he said that he didn't think it would be good enough to release, so he just gave up and deleted the whole thing. And then, like 2 weeks later, he wanted to keep working on it, realized what he had done, freaked out, but he found a backed up save copy from like a month before that he had
My
saved on a
God.
hard drive.
Wow.
So it almost didn't even happen.
Wow. God. Those moments when you fly too close, It's like Icarus. His wings almost melted off.
But yeah, it's the guy who created it. He goes under the name Concerned Ape, and he is
Right.
really, really cool.
Hmm. Some people, I tell you, they're just it's geniuses, and I think some people that are just that talented and that clever, like they just doubt themselves so much, and it's just nuts that yeah, that he almost threw a star. You know, I learned about Stardew Valley from a friend of mine that honestly I'd say like isn't even really like at the time was a pretty avid gamer, but in the realm of gaming was still a pretty average, you know, typical kind of gamer. Like I'd say, you know, kind of like you know, we kind of revolve around that realm of like your everyday gamer. You know, like
Hmm.
we're not some sort of crazy gamer on steroids or something. Um,
Yeah.
but it's like for a game like that to reach the masses and the in mass appeal and everything. I mean, it's gotten a lot of success. So to
We'll
think
see.
that
Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna,
You're
so I
good.
was just gonna say to think that he almost lost that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
just
that's
nuts.
crazy.
Yeah.
And like, I picked it up because I had
Yeah.
actually watched Pro Jared do a review of it,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
and so I picked it up, and then Raylan was watching me play it, and she was like, "I don't think I'll like it,"
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, "Well, just sit down and play it while I go take a shower." And
Yeah.
whenever I came back, she was like, "Can I buy it for my PlayStation?"
Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, that sounds a lot like Earl. um hey, you know what? That's funny that you mentioned Pro Jared. I haven't heard that name in a while. Um what did you think of what happened recently? Not recently, but like
With his ex-wife.
the whole fiasco.
Okay, well let me let me just put on my storytelling goggles here for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and get comfortable.
No, I was actually deeply rooted in this controversy.
Right.
So I have a problem where I like to talk shit on Twitter,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
and
well, wait. First, before you go into the controversy, what are your thoughts on like how long did you watch Pro Jared before all this?
years.
Like pretty avidly.
Yes, very.
Okay, you were a big fan.
Him and JonTron were my two favorites.
Gotcha. Okay, because I like JonTron a lot, but to be honest, I never really got into Pro Jared, so I'm not very familiar with him. I just know what I've seen, and I've seen some of him, but mainly what I've seen is the controversy.
Well, see, I think you would like Pro Jared if
Mm-hmm.
you sat down and watched him because you and I are a whole lot alike.
Mm-hmm.
And Pro Jared, he's really funny, but you have to go into it realizing that it's deadpan comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I get
Like
that.
the punchline is like awkward silences. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right. Like the joke
but
is kind of him in a way.
well, yeah, like a lot of time it's facial expressions.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he'll be like, and so on this game I died for the 17th time, and then he's just like staring into the camera, and it's just like that's the punchline. Like,
Yeah. Right.
but so I was a big Pro Jared fan, still
Mm-hmm.
am, by the way.
Mm.
Um, but I have this problem where I like to talk shit on Twitter. It is a problem that I have and have had for a long time. And whenever everything broke out,
Yeah.
when everything broke out, I initially, just like everybody else, was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you know, like F Pro Jared, he's a douche, blah, 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 right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there was a lot of controversy that came out, for those of you that don't know, that he cheated on his wife and that
Yep.
his wife didn't
Mm-hmm.
know, and that he was also sending nudes to underage kids and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
So,
there was a lot of allegations that he was kind of using his fan base, and then like one of the other things that was coming out, I don't mean to go too far, but was just like he was not only was he cheating on his wife, but he was kind of just covering it up, and he was going back and from what I gathered at least, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was more along the lines of like he kind of was writing a narrative, and it seemed like he was very methodically planning all this stuff out as far as the cheating and the deception went and everything. So that there was some allegations of basically like he kind of was consciously, subverting his wife. In a nutshell. In a nutshell.
That was the narrative that came out originally.
Right.
I ended up making a video on this back whenever my channel was just called The Drumo Show, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
That video got 20,000 views.
Oh, really? Damn, I bet.
I took that video down because I was wrong.
Wow.
So, his wife knew that he was sleeping with the other girl.
Oh.
The whole time.
Right.
Because he had text message receipts where him and his wife had texted each other, and he was like, hey, I'm going over to her house. And she was like, we're basically divorced anyway. Why would I give a shit?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then so it came out that he had cheated on his wife and everything like we said. And then all of a sudden his wife, I don't know if she was just trying to do it for clout. I don't know if she was just trying to make him look bad or what. But she come out and she basically was like, so he's been cheating on me, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it came out of the blue, right? And then everybody pretty much disowned him. I disowned him as a fan. Normal Boots disowned him. And the reason so many people disowned him, you guys have to understand, this was not cancel culture disowning. That's not what that was. Whenever one YouTuber disowns another YouTuber, it's because of the fact that for a lot of us, this is either our dream job or it already is our career.
It's kind of a business move.
It's a business move. You can still be friends with them, but you just can't openly support them.
Yes, because then you get roped into their rabbit hole,
Yes. But I openly talked crap about him. I openly showed his text messages between him and his wife that his wife had shared.
Yeah.
On that video, it got a bunch of views, and I deleted the video because it came out that he didn't do it. Him and her had been divorced, practically. They'd been separated for over a year. But they were still living together because, one, rent is high, and two, they were like trying this open relationship thing because she was seeing a guy, he was seeing a girl, and they were like trying to figure out if they're going to stay together or they're going to split apart officially. What are they going to do? And then the whole thing with his wife, the reason this all went nuclear was because when everybody started reading the text messages and saying, dude, she's just straight up lying, right?
Yeah, right.
She started saying, oh, by the way, he sent nudes to children, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It had turned out that he had sent a nude picture to a 16-year-old.
Right.
And everybody was like, dude, that's fucked up. You're a pedophile, whatever.
Right, yeah.
And then it came out later because Pro Jared apparently for some reason is very, very smart. He had taken screenshots of that whole conversation back when it originally happened. Because he said he felt suspicious of the girl.
Oh, gotcha.
And the girl had edited her screenshots to make it look like he was like, what's the word? Where they like try to feel a kid out to see if they're going to tell the police or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? Grooming.
Grooming, yes. Right.
So she edited the screenshots to make it look like he was grooming her.
Right.
And he sent the original screenshots where she kept telling him she was 21.
Oh, gotcha. Right.
And then all of a sudden her Twitter account just disappeared.
Yeah. Right. Yep. Oh, it always does. I'll tell you this too. One thing that came out, what was it? That was crazy was like the girl that he supposedly was like cheating on his wife with or whatever, the one that he was sleeping with. She's like also like just super crazy from what I understand. Like she's like some sort of furry like
oh god.
And furries aren't, don't get me wrong, I went to high school with furries. I know what they're like.
They're like the Vietnamese. Nothing against the Vietnamese.
Exactly. Yeah. No. No, furries, they're a different bunch. They have their own thing going. and they have their own culture. But just like any other group of people, they have their weirdos. The only difference with furry weirdos is it's like amplified weirdness.
Well, it's because the whole group itself is already seen as a non-social norm.
Yeah.
So when you get the weird of the weird, it's like 200 proof weird. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right. It's like refined weirdness.
Yeah.
It's like cherry picked weirdness. But like the main thing is you just get some of these people that are so devolved into some sort of weird something, and to the point where like sometimes like the only people that understand these people are themselves. Like there's some of these people that like they're part of the furry community, but they're also just like kind of in their own little space because they're so niche, they're so out there. Um, I just heard that I heard that the girl that he was sleeping with, well, for one, I heard that like she was like transgender or cross gender
She's
and all
not.
this stuff. Yeah, see, that's the thing. I was hearing these things, and I don't believe half of it, but like I heard like I heard at one point like she slept with a dog
No.
or something like that. Like
It was,
she,
well, see, there
you
was
know,
all these rumors coming out about her, and number
right.
one, just so you know, whenever we said, "Oh, she was transgender or cross gender, whatever," I have nothing against transgender people,
No, I have nothing against
but
them either. It's just I was hearing these things about this poor person, that are just not true. You know, that's the main thing is people were just labeling her with all these things. I don't even
well,
know
it's
what to
because
believe. You know?
it's because once you get that hate mob going, and you go,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, you slept with Pro Jared when you were friends with his wife," then
Yeah.
some other idiot with an IQ of 2 can yell
Mm-hmm.
from the back, "She fucks dogs," and everybody goes, "Oh my God!"
Yeah. It must be true.
Yeah,
Right.
but anyway, her name's Holly,
Right.
and she was actually married at one point to Ross O'Donovan. I don't know if you know who that is or not. He's a
Uh,
he's an animator and a video game player on YouTube.
I think so.
He was on Game Grumps at one point.
Right. Yep. Yeah, I heard about that.
Holly was also on Game Grumps at one point. She was the
Hmm.
coach for the team whenever they did the World of Warcraft series.
Gotcha.
But basically, uh, her and Ross had been split up, or maybe even full on divorced. I don't remember. But Pro Jared had talked to Ross and been like, "Hey, I'm interested in seeing Holly," and he was like, "Well, me and her ain't together anymore, so more power to you, buddy."
Mm.
But the wife had known that he was sleeping with Holly. He would go and spend weekends at Holly's house
Oh,
and
right.
then come home. And
Hmm.
so it was one of those things where it's like, you can date Holly until we figure out what we're doing, blah, 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 blah. But then
Right.
the girlfriend, or the wife of Pro Jared, I forget her name. She was some 2-bit cosplayer. But
Yeah. Yeah.
she,
Right. No, I remember.
she was seeing this dude, and whenever that dude broke up with her, then all of a sudden she wanted to start a shitstorm because I guess she didn't have anything better to do that day.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it ended up coming out where a lot of people had to say sorry to Pro Jared, myself included, in a tweet that he actually responded to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were like, "Dude, I'm sorry that I judged you, blah, 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 blah,"
To be
And now,
perfectly, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, now he's just trying to rebuild his YouTube channel because he lost he
Yeah.
went from I want to say 2.6 million subscribers down to like 600,000.
Oh yeah. Oh, he hemorrhaged to subscribers. I watched them fall off of his channel. It was nuts. It was literally like people leaping out of a burning building.
I am not
Seriously.
going down with this ship.
Yeah, seriously. It was like the Titanic sinking. It was nuts. Um, but to be perfectly honest and hear me out, as somebody who never was into Pro Jared to begin with, hearing all this stuff and you can let me know what you think about this, but it really turns me off to the idea of getting into him just because of the fact that it's like once you have seen someone air their dirty laundry, if you don't already have a good view of that person, it kind of sours it. And so like
Yeah, I get that.
he doesn't seem like he's necessarily a bad person, and I feel like he's gotten a lot of bad rap, but it's like once you see someone get into drama like that and you don't have a way to defend them, like I just don't. I guess I could try to watch him, but I feel like the whole time I would just be thinking about that. Also, real quick, I'd also be thinking about the fact that I have seen him semi-naked in a Sailor Moon costume, so that always will haunt
I would
my
be thinking about
imagination.
I usually have to try to erase the memory of seeing him fully frontal nude every time I see him on YouTube.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. That's the only thing.
I mean, once you can Clorox your eyes,
Right. Once you can have the mind scrapers come and physically remove the memory from your your neurons.
prefrontal cortex.
Right, exactly. Then you can move on with your life and watch Pro Jared again.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, right? That's really messed up is
Yeah.
because just because his ex-wife got jealous, she's really,
Ugh.
really, really plateaued his growth on YouTube. Like, it's not going to shoot up again like it did before.
You wonder if he could even, and I don't mean to derail, but you wonder if he could even maybe sue over that shit. That's crazy.
Oh, he totally could. He totally could.
That's basically defamation, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, it would be slander.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I guess that'd be slander. Are they? They're
That's the thing that was so messed up, though, is because he even came out in a video later and said, "Listen, the only thing about that was true
mhm.
was that he ran a Tumblr blog that was for sending nude pictures, and it was for people
Right.
who liked doing that, like
Yeah.
that." But even on the Tumblr blog, it said you need to be at least 21. Like he wouldn't even
Yes.
let 18-year-olds in there.
No. Right. Right.
So
Also,
that's the only thing that's true. And I mean, if that dude just like sending naked pictures in his free time, then whatever. But
yeah. I mean, I'll say this: it's not someone that I think I would be interested in. Just to be perfectly honest, but in all fairness, I can't. I can't call him out for it because if he wants to, have people send him nudes and send nudes to people and all this stuff, then hey, I mean, as long as it's consensual, whatever. That doesn't bother me at all.
I do feel like he kind of set himself up for failure just because if you run a Tumblr blog where you entice people to send nudes back and forth, and then
Mm.
somebody figures out that it's Pro Jared running it, and that person
Yes.
is a 16-year-old kid, they're going to be like,
Yes.
"Ooh, I want Pro Jared to see me naked." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and then here's the other thing, and this just sums up, just the whole feel of at least for me, the whole feel of this channel. I know that there's a lot of people that watch Pro Jared that are of age, but equally so, I feel like there's a lot of people that watch Pro Jared that are not of age. And whenever you start bringing and I don't once again I don't know enough about Pro Jared to know his demographic, but I feel like I could assume his demographic is probably going to be on the younger side of people, just
I
because
would say
that's
probably, definitely because of the fact that he was also a member of Normal Boots, and Normal
mm,
Boots, their audience is young.
kids,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Anytime that anyone in kids and I know YouTube's different. YouTube's way different. It's not exactly kids entertainment because it's YouTube, so anybody can watch it. But when you're still in that realm where you know that a large portion of your audience is children, anytime that there's like some sort of weird sexual thing that comes out, it amplifies it because kids, you know.
Well,
'Cause-
see, my general rule of thumb is let's like just for example, if
Mhm.
you're a YouTuber and you're small like we are now, right?
Yeah,
I
right,
have 53
right.
subs. If my channel grew to the point of having 100,000 subs, that would be the point where I would go, okay, I need to ut any crazy shit. So, like, I would quit talking
Exactly.
about politics. I would quit talking about all this stuff that could hinder my career path. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be at the point where, like, for me, I would like consciously try not to cuss. I would not at all. I would like never in my. I would make sure I never have like any open alcohol on the stream or something like that. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And that's only for me. That's not even something like I wouldn't be relying on terms and conditions of some policy. That would be me just trying to get my own back because it's like, you know, I'm not trying to hide.
You don't want to do anything where somebody like 2 years from now could turn around and go, "Do you see this time that he said that child's picture was beautiful?" You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah, it's sad, but you almost have to be kind of proactive, very much so.
Or pro Jared.
Or pro Jared. There you go. You can be proactive, or you can be pro Jared. It's two sides of the spectrum. You can't choose one though. That's fucking great. God. Oh my god.
I need to make a meme picture. Remember, kids, you can be proactive or you can be pro Jared. And it's the picture of him in the Sailor Moon outfit.
Yeah. Choose wisely.
Oh god.
You can pick the red pill or the blue pill. Proactive or pro Jared. That's hilarious. What we should do instead is have like you should have a picture of pro Jared and then you should have an anti Jared.
Anti Jared has like his stuff together. He's like
he has a wife. He's only been married one time. He's got like 3 kids.
Never ran a Tumblr sex blog.
Yeah, right. He's actually like a pastor at a church.
He's like one of those youth pastors with like a faux hawk.
Right, yeah, exactly. And he sits backwards on chairs while he talks to the kids at the church. And
oh god.
Pastor Jared. Oh gosh, that could either be really good or really bad.
Oh my god. Oh.
Anti-Jared. This needs to be materialized somehow. I feel like this has got to be a joke someone's made at some point.
If it's not, that is a crying shame.
Yeah, right. It's a missed opportunity. Truly.
Ooh. This podcast alone is going to cause a surge of pro Jared memes in the future. He's not going to know where the fuck they came from.
Right. Where do all these pro Jared memes come from in 2020? Wait, what? Is that still going on? God, when did all that even happen? Was it last year or was it I think it was the year before. 2018. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, God.
God, I feel like ever since all that stuff started happening, it's just been like a time vortex. Like time has just not been running the same way.
Oh, God.
Maybe that's just me, though.
Oh. I was laughing so hard I was crying.
Yeah, I was about to say. I thought I was going to lose you over there for a minute.
You said anti-Jared and I about fell on the floor.
The nega Jared.
Maji and Jared.
I just imagine like a what's it called? Like a inverted Jared, like when you invert colors. He's just got like dark blue skin or something instead.
Nega Jared.
Yeah, exactly. But he's actually like really nice. Like he looks evil as fuck, but he's actually like super nice. He volunteers at the local animal shelter, you know.
Oh God. What have you done?
Well, first of all, we've created an anti-Jared.
Oh God!
It's like when you have two opposing forces and one force is so extremely strong that it creates the other opposing force. Pro Jared, basically, what happened is after the conspiracy, the whole thing. He opened like a nexus and anti-Jared like came through into the world. You know?
No, anti-Jared is literally just the good parts of pro Jared that just split from his body.
Right. On that day when the the freaking Sailor Moon costume or whatever got posted.
It's literally like Peter Pan. It's like Shadow Jared.
Yeah. It just leaped away from him and just like went out the window, and he's like, "Oh, okay." He walks outside. He doesn't have a shadow anymore. Oh my god!
Now I just want to let y'all know that I'm laughing like an idiot, and I'm not even on any illegal substances. The only substance I'm on right now is Shadow Jared.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably you're probably more sober than I am right now.
Oh my god!
Oh, good Lord. That's hilarious.
That is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I'm just picturing it all in my head. It needs to be made. It needs to be brought into this world somehow.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of YouTuber controversy,
ooh.
Do you have any thoughts about the stuff going on with H3H3?
So what about?
So H3H3 was like a beloved YouTube channel at one point.
Oh yes, yeah.
Well, recently they moved into this giant mansion. I say recently, but it was like a year ago.
Right.
But they've just been kind of flaunting their money and stuff in everybody's face, and they're starting to lose their platform.
Mm-hmm. I'll say this. I've been a big fan of H3 ever since their super early reaction videos. I mean, I'm talking, years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think almost. Yeah, I mean, they're creative geniuses. I will always love Ethan and Hila, and same with Earl. I think part of it is just because we know them so well from watching them so much. We almost feel like we know them personally,
Yeah, well, see, I was never an H3H3 guy myself. I actually didn't even know they existed till the podcast. But
yeah,
I was a big iDubbbz guy.
Right,
and that's how I ended up finding them. Was through iDubbbz.
Yeah, the thing about H3 that got me into it was there was a big stint in my life where like a lot of the YouTube videos that I consumed, sadly enough, was just like reaction videos.
Wow, that is very bland and vanilla.
I know, but the thing is though with reaction videos is there is a side of, I feel like, reactionary videos where it's more dialogue and it's more content. It's almost more personal. It's almost like you're sitting in with a friend that's actually like going over something. Like it's actually funny, Yeah. I mean, that's just the best way to put it. Because then you have the opposite, which is reaction videos where like the guy's like, "Oh yeah, hey guys, in today's reaction video, we're gonna watch this prank. Oh yeah, all right, guys, we're gonna get right into it. Here, let's check it out."
And then it's play. Then it's 15 minutes of like, huh.
Yeah, and then
that's
he goes,
funny.
"Huh. Oh, dude. Oh, dude, that's funny. Oh, dude, that's hilarious. Oh yeah." And it's like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. But the thing about H3 that was funny is it started out as just mindless bullshit. He would just go off on tangents about stupid stuff on the internet. And the other cool part of it too, especially with H3H3, was he would find stuff from the farthest reaches of the internet. Like I remember one of them was like he found a video of this guy that literally just walks into a gas station in full diaper. This guy is like he's like a big old massive dude. And he's wearing nothing but a giant man-sized diaper. And he walks into a gas station and he grabs 2 bags of chips and just walks out. And people are just watching him. And they're just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing, man? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it's kind of in like a ghetto part of some town or whatever. So like people are just like running around, like kind of yelling at him, like real crazy, like, "Oh, this man's walking out with the chips. This man's walking out with the chips." And this guy's just got the freaking blankest expression on his face while he just sombers in, full diaper, grabs 2 big bags of chips, and just walks out. And the thing is, the perfect thing about that video was it's so weird and it's so unbelievable. And Ethan made a video about it, but not only that, but he kind of did like a skit over it and all this stuff. And that's the beauty in it, is he really kind of took it that step forward to where he was like, he was bringing you into this universe that he created. He's bringing you into this narrative that he's making where it's like, here, let me show you this story, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what got me into H3. I'll say this, just with the podcast and everything and with the controversy, H3 has been on the grind since then. And I know that's like one of those things, everyone is on the grind. But they really have. They put out a lot of really cool stuff. One thing that a lot of people don't realize is Ela, Ethan's wife, has her own clothing line. So like they sell clothing. Yeah. So they sell tons of clothing. They sell merchandise. They have brand deals. They have all this stuff. So it's like, obviously they have a lot of money. And there's a lot of people that say that they're flaunting their money, but I'll hit you with a counterpoint. I'll say this. I don't think they're flaunting their money. I think people are talking about their money enough to where they have to also talk about their money, therefore seeming like they're flaunting it. And it's only for the reason it's only for the reason that there's people out there like Keemstar that for whatever reason fucking hate Ethan and dig at Ethan any chance they get. So Keemstar sees somewhere that Ethan now owns a mansion, so he's going to spread this little thing all over the internet about how Ethan's a money-hungry Jew or some craziness. But I don't know. It's stuff like that.
I used to run a parody Twitter account called Killer Queefstar.
Killer Queefstar. Here's the thing I don't understand. Here's what I don't understand. Who the fuck is watching Keemstar? Well, okay, that too. But, like, who is watching Keemstar? Is it just Leafy at this point?
I watch Drama Alert sometimes if it's something that, like, if it's something that's, like, been, like, going around. Like, if it's making its rounds on Twitter and he's made a video about it. But I don't watch it for him. I watch it for, like, the synopsis of what's going on. I'm sorry, I can't even give him the courtesy of that. He's just such a despicable little person, and it's not just H3. Here's the funny thing, too, is like I feel like he's attached himself a lot to Ethan, and I feel like he's done that and that's what these kind of people do. He's a leech, and he's going to attach himself to somebody, and he's going to feed off that person until he can't feed anymore. And then not only that, but he's also a leech because he hides under rocks. So Ethan's kind of this rock that he's hiding under for right now. And as you're flipping over Ethan, you're also kind of having to flip him over. So it's like, I guess the best way to put it is, I think that he's been kind of doing this to Ethan because he can. But the fact of the matter is, he's done this forever. Way before H3 even got popular, when he was still doing other things. I mean, he's just been this way for a long time. It's not just Ethan that he fucks with. I mean, he's always been just like, I don't know. I've just never liked him, I guess. I don't know. What is up, Drama Alert Nation?
Time for the news.
Let's get right into my ass.
Yeah.
Anyway.
God.
I watch him because I can't fucking stand Scarce. I just can't. I don't like him.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
His voice makes me want to slam my head through a wall. But, and it's not even anything that he does that's like wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. It's just the tone of his voice makes me go, you know what? Driving my head through that window looks pretty nice.
Right. Anything else.
My brain is just like, do anything else. Drink
Right.
cyanide, something.
Freaking mashing nails through my hand, like just nailing nails through my hand would be more entertaining than watching a scarce video. Yeah.
But that being said, I have an idea. We are almost at the 2-hour mark, and
Yeah.
I want to get in at least one more topic,
Sure,
one more
yeah.
big topic.
Definitely.
And I'm going to let you pick. We can either talk about next-gen consoles. If not, we will get it next episode, I promise. We'll open with it next episode. Whatever we don't pick today, we'll open with on the next episode.
Okay.
Next-gen consoles, or something I found out about you. We can talk about Chris Chan.
Oh my gosh. Oh wait. Okay. You mean just my fascination with Chris Chan?
I'm also a Christorian.
Okay. Because I've heard from Earl that you said that you were a Christorian. I want to hear about that because I want to hear what do you have any? Okay, let me ask you this: do you have any crazy theories or any big I don't know, just anything about Chris in particular that you I don't know, like anything from Chris that you really garner, you know?
Well, so my introduction to Chris Chan was Geno Samuel's documentary, which I recommended to Ariel, and she said she had watched some episodes of it already.
Yes.
It is actually following the timeline literally from the time he was a baby up till now. And right now, I think we're around 2011 or 2012 is where we're at the point of the documentary.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So basically, I started watching that because literally, I don't know why YouTube started recommending a lot of Chris Chan stuff at one point.
Yeah. Same for me.
And then literally on my homepage, I saw Chris Chan documentary episode 1, and it showed him as a little kid. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to get into it, I might as well start at the beginning.
Right. Yeah, might as well just dive right in.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Number one, first and foremost, I think that before we even get into Chris himself, we should talk about Bob. Because that dude, literally, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have some technology that we have now.
Yeah. Yeah, truly.
He owned patents for a lot of crazy stuff, including bottling water, like the machine that bottles water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yep.
God, wow. And that's his dad.
Mm-hmm.
God. Where do those?
I think that they just had him too old.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. They were in their 50s when they had him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, she was in her 50s. Bob was in his 60s.
Oh my gosh, he was in his 60s.
Yeah, I don't see how he'll still virile at that point, but whatever.
See, here's the thing about, and this is the weird thing about men versus women. I feel like men are more virile for longer. You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like even as a 60-year-old man, you still have the chance of having a perfectly healthy son. But for women, it's a bit different. And the main reason I feel like, and this, you can say whatever you want, but men, here's we're gonna have a little birds and the bees, guys. You've got the sperm and the egg. That's what has to combine to make the baby. Well, men produce sperm consistently. And it's also basically recycled. So it has a shelf life,
And the gene pool of sperm does not weaken with each new batch either.
No, it's basically always random. You know what I mean? So it's it's you have the same chance of anything at any time because it's a constant thing. So it's basically a constant, it's consistently changing. It's a consistent change. Anyway, and that, of course, changes with age, but not as much as women. And the reason with women is because women have, at least from what I've been taught, so maybe my science is not right, but from what I've been taught, they have the same amount of eggs from birth, or from the time that they reach sexual maturity or whatever.
Mm.
But those eggs do not change. They stay the same for the most part, to what I understand. So it's not like men where they're just making sperm, all the time. Women, they have eggs that are made that are waiting, to be used. So
They have a limited number from the time they're born.
yes. And then on top of that, they on top of that, anything that is left for a long time, I feel like has a better chance, especially organically, of degrading. So, it's almost just kind of obvious that, like a woman over time, by the time they are later on in their years, their eggs would have a higher chance of developing deformations, genetic deformations.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of women and speaking of Christian,
Mm-hmm.
I think that because I've seen two contrarian theories, and I tend to lean on one side of the camp.
Mm.
They talk about him becoming trans or a
Mm.
tom girl, right?
Yes. Right.
A lot of people think that he's doing it because he actually feels that he's a woman, or they think that he does it because of his autism and his mental illness, making him think he's a woman. I don't
Right.
think that it's either one of those. I think that he joined the LGBTQ community as a trans person
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact he wanted a community to surround him to protect him from trolls.
Yes. Yes. And I'll say this. I feel like it's double-sided. You're totally right in saying that. I'll say this as well. I believe that he fetishizes women to a certain regard, to a I'll say this, to a unhealthy regard. Um.
Well, I want to expand on that point for just a
Okay.
second, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Think back, all of the boys and men listening to this podcast, and I would say even some girls, especially if you're lesbian, right?
Mm.
Think back to when you first hit puberty and you started becoming interested in the other sex,
Yeah.
and
Right.
how your first girlfriend, you thought that she was the hottest person to ever exist at that point in your life, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And any sort of woman who was like a pinup girl or a porn star
Mm.
or just a celebrity that was female that was hot, you fetishize them in a way because it's
Sure.
like
Yeah.
you're
Oh
just now
yeah.
starting to figure out that you like girls. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Oh yeah.
I feel like he's stuck there because he's never had a meaningful relationship to where I know he's lost his virginity, but I feel like he's not actually lost it because he lost it to a prostitute. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's done the act, but he's never had that romantic connection that
Right.
makes you realize that women are more than just to be fetishized about. You get what I'm saying?
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if he just paid that prostitute and she came over and just like hung out with him for a minute and he just grabbed her tits and, you know, touched her freaking, I don't know,
Her
you know
body.
what. Yeah, and then that was it. Like he never actually got it in. He just freaking I'm I don't know. I still cannot for the life of me imagine Chris Chan ever doing that.
Well, see, that's the thing too, though, right? It wouldn't
I
surprise me if he never even hired a prostitute and he just made all of that up
That too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely.
because he was
Yeah.
tired of people picking on him.
Right. Yes.
It's the
And
exact same argument of my uncle works at Sony and I have the PS7
right. Yeah.
because
Well,
because you're the poor kid with the PS3. Everybody else has PS4s. Well, guess what, bitch? I got a PS6. Like, you get what I'm saying?
yeah. I just want to know, man, you know what's crazy too? I want to know how he gets the notion in his head that he has to spend his life, trying to do all this stuff and seek approval and everything. Like, you almost wonder, I mean, as an autistic kid, like, was it something? I mean, his parents have always been married, so I mean, you would think that he would have a pretty good concept of relationship from his parents. Maybe it was like, I don't know, dude. Maybe it was actually video games. Maybe Chris Chan is actually the first freaking recorded, like, casualty of video games where he thought, he deserved Princess Peach like Mario did or whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you want to know my actual thought on that?
What's that?
One, first and foremost, I know for a fact that Barb, his mom, is very abusive. She's a very abusive person,
You think
and
so?
she was also very abusive to Bob, right?
Oh, okay.
And I think that in his brain, he wants the exact opposite of what she gave him, which would be like the perfect relationship, right?
Right. Okay. Right.
But I also think that he's closeted gay. And the fact that
Mm.
Bob used to tell him he wasn't allowed to be gay, he's not
Yeah.
allowed to like boys, he's not
Mm.
allowed to wear girls' clothes, blah, blah, blah. I think it made him closeted gay, and he can't accept that. He
Mm-hmm.
can call himself transgender. He can
Mm-hmm.
call himself a woman. He can
Yeah.
call himself a lesbian. He can call himself a tom girl. But the reason he can't just come out and say I'm gay, I like boys, is because his dad beat it into his brain so much, and he's autistic. So he feels like he would be doing his father a disservice if he liked boys. So he has to put on a show about how much he loves girls
Mm-hmm.
to try to talk himself out of the fact that he likes guys.
Truly, and I think the other part of it too is he just has um, a very skewed concept of men versus women, and you see it in his artwork, and you see it in how he portrays women a lot of the times. Like, women to him are always like, first of all, before he actually meets them and talks to them, they're angels, they're perfect, they're sweet, they're kind, they're caring, loving, and then men on the other
18 to
hand,
21,
girlfriend
white,
free. Yeah.
smoke free, boyfriend free girl.
Well, but then men on the other hand are always rowdy, unpredictable, irrational, very brass. So it's like it's funny. He's got this concept in his head where it's like all women are saints and all men are demons.
You
And
want me to tell you where I think that comes from?
what? Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, so when he was in middle school,
Mm.
he,
Oh, the gal pals.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say is, okay, look at it from the point of an autistic kid, right?
Yes.
You're an autistic kid who's a boy, and you go to middle school, and everything's fine, and you have friends and all that. And then you
Yeah.
go to high school, and then you try to fit in with high school boys who are rowdy anyway, right?
Yeah. Right.
And you being an autistic kid who is kind of feminine because you may or may not closetly like men, you try to get along with these boys, but they're all coming of age. All these boys are coming of age, so they're fighting each other. They talk shit to each other. You're just doing things that high school boys do.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
because even nerdy high school kids, we still talk shit to each other.
Yeah. Push
But
boundaries and mess around.
as an autistic kid, and I only know because I have a bunch of people in my family who are on the spectrum, and I have been diagnosed as on the far end of the spectrum. As an autistic child, especially him because he's deeply autistic, he wouldn't like his boundaries being pushed.
No.
He
No,
doesn't
not
want
at all.
people to come into his circle. He doesn't want people to hurt his feelings because when you hurt an autistic child's feelings, it really hurts their feelings. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I would imagine at some point he has tried to be friends with a boy, and that boy was just being himself and pushed Chris Chan's feelings too far, or maybe even
Yep.
physically hurt him.
Could
And a
be, yeah.
girl stepped in and stopped it because he's an autistic kid. Like, don't pick on the special ed kid.
Right.
And then she kind of took him under her wing as a friend, and now he has this unique image of like women are the people who save you from boys.
Right. Right. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, he's a special case just because of the fact that one thing that I heard one time that really kind of was crazy to me was like, in a way, we have more recorded history of Chris Chan in his life than we do of presidents like George Washington.
Yeah, actually, he is the most documented human being to ever exist.
I can believe that. I can
There
totally believe
is, I want to say, 26,000 pages of history on him
that.
on the internet.
Here's something
Like,
that
on the
here's something
quickie,
that
I mean.
yeah, I didn't even know this until the other day. It's funny that you say the quickie. I did not know that Kiwi Farms originally was just a Chris Chan board.
Yeah, it was a backup for if the quickie went down.
Right, right. And it's funny because like Quickie Farms is huge. They're a huge thing now, and they encompass all sorts of people, and there's a lot of people that talk about them and everything. But I didn't know that all started because of Chris. Basically, I mean, he that as far as like the interest in Quickie, like they talk about lol cows, and it's funny. You know, there's a point where it does kind of get to be bullying on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say this: it is a wonderful thing to know that there are people out there that just they see crazy on the internet and they just document it.
Yeah. Well, see, like, that's the thing, too, right? Is you can look at different parts of Chris's history and you can say, wow, like, that trolling went way too far.
Right.
There's actually been trolls of his that left the internet and haven't come back, or if they did, they came back under a different name and like haven't said anything because of the fact that there's people out there that are like, if we ever see him on any other platform, like, he's getting destroyed. But
wow. Yeah.
There's also other times where you look at it and you go, Chris, you brought this on your fucking self. Like,
yeah. Right. Yeah. And you almost feel so bad because it's just unmetered. Like you almost wish that you could step in between and be like, hey, Chris, maybe you shouldn't say this. Or, hey, maybe, you shouldn't say this to Chris, I mean, like, you kind of wish that you could say, but you can't. I mean, you can't really hold his hands.
But there were trolls that did that. There were
yes.
trolls back in the day that would be on the troll forum where they're like, okay, let's like fucking burn Chris's house down. And then somebody would step in and be like, you're taking it too far. Like, pull it back by about 10.
Yeah, and there's people that just want to have fun. There's people that want to be devious, and there's people that just want to be chaotic. And there's always a mix. Yeah, in general, what would happen though is Chris would just overreact crazily. You just have a crazy meltdown, or he would do something irrational, or he would get himself in trouble, or he'd get himself banned, or he'd break something, and then he'd film
or
it.
leak his own internet, or leak his own address on the internet.
Right. And that's the thing. And then he posts it, or he has it on YouTube or something, so everybody sees it. And you almost can't help but, be in that situation, just in the understanding that, you're looking at it and you're like, wow, like this guy is crazy. Like this guy does all sorts of crazy stuff. Like I just have to keep watching because I want to see what's going to happen next. And it's a dangerous thing too. But with Chris, it's like I don't know if he knows how to stop. I don't think he does. I don't think he understands. I think maybe at some point he tried, but I don't think he truly understands that he can't just get. I think he thinks that maybe at some point that he will ascend past all of the criticism, and I don't think he.
That is such a perfect segue into one thing that I definitely wanted to talk about before we wrapped up.
Okay, yeah.
What do you think about the dimensional merge?
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, first and foremost, um, from what
I
I
love the
understand,
pause.
God. Well, see, that's the thing is, I'm having a like when we talk about Chris Chan stuff, it's almost like there's a loading screen that comes up in my brain. It's almost like when you go into a different part of a map in like an old PlayStation game, and you can
It's
hear
like
the
using the
disc.
damn Dewey Decimal System.
Well, you can hear the disc like shift around, like because it's got to like get to the other part of the disc to like get that information. That's what I have to do with the Chris Chan stuff. It's like partitioned away in a different part of my brain, so it doesn't fuck with the rest of my brain. So when you
How do you
ask
feel
me
about the dimensional merge? Dimensional merge, dimensional merge. Oh, wait, that's all
accessing information,
A21.
right? Yeah, exactly. Decrypting, recompiling. Well, and that's the thing. It's like it's so weird. To be honest about the whole dimensional merge thing, um, I'm a little fuzzy on all the details, but I think if I remember correctly, this basically started because at some point he created his own like boyfriend or something.
Boyfriends.
Boyfriends. Okay. So he had like fake boyfriends.
Still does.
Yeah, right. And they're OCs, you know. And they live in Chris world or whatever he calls it, you know, Quickieville.
Dimension
and
1218.
right. Dimension 1218. So specific. Why 1218, do you know?
I have no freaking clue.
No idea. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, it's based off the Marvel Universe Earth 1218.
Oh, of course it is, because Chris has no freaking creativity.
And our dimension is dimension C197.
C197. Where have I heard that from before?
Let's
C197.
find out. It is the name is based off the fictional dimension of C137 from Rick and Morty.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's exactly what I expected out of Chris Chan. Okay, anyway. Yeah, so from what I understand, he's got boyfriends that live in another dimension that he created, and he just believes, because he's been talking to them, apparently, that they're coming through in a dimensional merge that's happening soon. And from what I understand, it's been happening. It was scheduled to happen, like, before the fucking coronavirus. And so, like...
The coronavirus, according to Chris, is part of the sign of the dimensional merge happening.
Oh.
Because he said that it is a virus that exists in in dimension 1218 that is their version of the flu, but it came over and it affects humans differently.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, if you're fucking drunk.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's why I'm picking it all up. No,
I'm gonna need a fifth of Fireball and a fifth of Jägermeister to get through this.
And I might be able to understand it at that point.
But anyway, he's in a relationship with Mewtwo and Magichan.
Oh, okay. Mewtwo and Magichan.
Yep. Mewtwo as in the Pokemon.
Right.
Magichan as in the psychic hedgehog Pokemon that he made up, like Sonichu.
Oh, okay.
It's like a purple Sonichu, basically.
Gotcha. Right, of course.
And they're in a polyamorous relationship.
Do they fuck each other?
Yeah, yes. And
Great. That's awesome. Good for them.
But here's the thing: Chris Chan and Mewtwo exist in Dimension C137.
Okay.
But Magichan only exists in Dimension 1218. And the way that Magichan comes to Dimension C137 is her soul. Yeah, Magichan is a her, my bad. Her soul and Chris's soul switch places, and then Magi-Chan lives within Chris's
God.
body, which is why Chris now has psychic powers, and he watches Red versus Blue on his live streams on YouTube and mumbles the words because he already knows what they're going to say because it already happened in Dimension 1218, because that's where the war really did happen, because Red versus Blue characters are real in Dimension 1218, and Magi-Chan was there to see it all happen. That's how she knows what's going to happen next.
Oh my God! So that's why he does all that.
Yep.
So okay.
That hurt my brain to spill all of that out of my mind, by the way.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate you giving that sacrifice. But so okay, hear me out. The red versus blue shit, the episodes that he's going over, are they actually legitimately new episodes?
No.
So he is just going through and watching them, and trying to remember what they say, and then just trying to mumble the words back over them?
Yeah, well, basically, this has been rumored that he watches them literally right before he goes to the live stream, and then he watches the episodes again and tries to remember everything they say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. God. He's so insane. And it sounds exactly like something he would do, too.
But there actually is something very worrying about this.
Mm-hmm.
They think that Chris Chan, he might have something other than autism, right? He very well could be like schizophrenic or something. Because not all schizophrenic people are dangerous. Some of them just have hallucinations.
Sure,
and a lot of people are thinking that because he's going unmedicated, that he actually does see Mewtwo and Sonichu and them there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He thinks that they're real.
Wow, maybe that's wow. So maybe that's actually why he's like so convinced about this whole dimensional merge thing.
Oh yeah, and there's also a whole thing going on where people think that Barb has been dead for a while.
Yeah, I've heard that theory. I've heard people even go as far as saying stuff like that he's been like using her as like a meat puppet. And like,
that wouldn't surprise me.
You know, she looks dead every time she goes on the stream, but that's just because she's crazy looking.
Yeah, but that's the bad part, because if she actually did go, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Right? Yeah, exactly. He could just hook her up like a dummy.
It would be like Weekend at Bernie's. Like,
oh my gosh, she would look like a ventriloquist dummy. Just move her mouth up and down.
See, that's the bad part about Chris Chan, though, right? Is like, this could go from like lol cow funny haha autistic guy sees Pokemon in his bedroom to fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all it would take is about a day and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, truly. I mean, he could turn very violent at any point, given circumstances, just because in the past he's done crazy stuff. He's gone after people at GameStops. He's
with pepper spray.
Yeah, and he's assaulted people in the streets that have, come up to him.
Ran over the owner of a game store one time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, then there's always the infamous. He did the cursey Kameha at the what's her face, the dean of the college or whatever.
Yeah.
God, I can only imagine being that poor woman and being in that office. She probably thought that her life was in danger at that very moment.
It probably was if he would have had the chance.
God, I mean, and that's the thing is, like, he does all this stuff. It's only a matter of time until someone freaks out in a way that escalates things, and it's just it's all it takes is a split second in Chris Chan's little reptile brain, and he could flip, and all of a sudden he's got his hands around someone's throat, choking them out.
Well, see, this is the thing too, though. Let me put forward this scenario for you.
Mm-hmm.
Barb dies, right?
Yeah.
Chris knows, he's smart enough to know that if Barb is dead, he can't live there because he can't afford to keep the bills up.
Yeah.
he also knows that the state will take him out of that house. And he's scared of the state. He's scared of going to like a mental institution.
Yes, definitely in a major way.
So
I know that.
Barb dies. He hides her body in the house somewhere because he's not smart enough to bury it.
No.
But somebody sends a wellness check on Barb because they haven't seen her in a long time. He has a freak out moment, and all it would do is take that one little freak out moment to have Mewtwo or Sonichu or somebody standing in the living room, and they go, "Kill the cop, Chris."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's all it's going to take. That's it.
Well, and then the opposite could also happen where, I mean, not the opposite, but the alternative being he could freaking run for the cop's like gun or something and try to grab a gun. And then, you know, God forbid it's two cops that come out on a visit together or something, and he goes for one of the cops' guns, the other one pulls out his gun quicker, shoots Chris right in the head, and, well, there you go. That's the end of Chris Chan.
Well, see, like, that's the thing, though, right? Because if he's not already armed, he would try something like that.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying, all I'm trying to say is that he's on a very slippery slope, because Barb is going to die eventually. And whenever she goes, he's not going to tell anybody.
No. Well, I don't know. It'd be very hard. He'd have to keep that secret very well.
Either that or he would let it slip on Twitter.
Oh, he'd let it slip to someone. The thing is, the one thing about Chris Chan, I'll say this, that I do feel so bad for. I don't see how Chris Chan can trust anyone. Because
he can't.
Everyone in his whole world at one point or another has probably thrown him under the bus for something. But it's only just because of the fact that either A, they're trolls, or B, you know, they're trying to help him out, but then he pulls them into his mess and screws them over, so then they get mad at him too. You know, he does that to people.
Well, not only that, he can't trust his mom because she was abusive, not toward him, but she was abusive, and he saw it. And he couldn't trust Bob because Bob told him to suppress his feelings for boys.
Yeah, right.
So, who does he have? Nobody.
Yeah.
He has Sonichu, Magichan, and Mewtwo, and that's it.
Yeah, it is sad. I mean, I know there are people that actually do try to help him, but you know, it's like, what can you do? What can you do for Chris Chan?
I don't know. But with that being said, be sure to come hang out with us next time, because we will, like I said, start out the episode talking about next gen consoles, because I promised you guys we'd do it this time, but we ended up talking about Chris Chan, and I might actually bring up another law cow for you to talk about. So.
It's always fun. Well, yeah, I think you're right. I think we should go ahead and probably start ending here. Oh, actually, this is a great time to do it, because I'm just now getting a notification on my Raycon. Got low battery, please charge. So it's going to keep doing that until I put it back in the case. But, well, yeah, but it's been super fun. I am so happy that I finally got to come here again and do the podcast again. And soon enough, number 2 will be on its way. I mean, hopefully it should be probably tomorrow that I get this edited together and then uploaded, and then it'll be tomorrow night or Saturday morning probably that'll be up and running finally. Yeah, that being said, yeah, I'm happy to be back. I'm happy that I got
I'm
power.
happy you're back too, bro.
Yeah, I'm happy that we're streaming and things are going good. Yeah, the YouTube editing stuff's been really fun. So hopefully with this next video, it should be up pretty quick. And I'm going to try to have some fun with some editing. So we'll see what happens.
Sweet.
Well, I guess we will end it here, guys. To everyone who is watching on the YouTube or later on, you know, let us know how you like it. And, you know, stay tuned for more. We are going to be back, you know, definitely. And probably going to be back next week again. We're gonna try to keep up with this theme of once a week.
Yeah.
I know we faltered, but rather me. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where, number one, it was our second episode that we would have been recording, so it's not like we had everybody waiting with bated breath. But and number two, whenever life gets in the way like that, there's going to be times where we have to.
My Raycons just gave out.
His
Raycons. Get turned off.
Are you back?
Yeah, I can hear you again.
Okay, there's going to be times whenever life gets in the way, and we're going to have to, push a date back or skip a day or whatever.
Right.
But we'll always have at least a funny story to tell on the next episode.
Exactly. We're going to keep it real. That's for sure. But yeah, other than that, I mean, we'll, try to come back with some more news, a little bit more discussion, maybe a little bit more music discussion. Try to tone it down a little bit. I think next time, I'll stick with sending you. I'll send you one album, and then we'll talk about it.
Cool.
And that'll at least keep the dialogue a little bit shorter because we did just hit the 3-hour mark. So, or at least I hit it on my side.
Stuff. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. But
it's about 2.5 is where I'm at. But
yeah, jeez. But all right, well, it's been real. We'll close it here. I'm Ham. Or no, wait, no, I'm not Ham. You're Ham.
I'm Cheese.
I'm Cheese.
I'm Cheese. I'm Cheese.
No, wait, no, I'm Cheese.
And I'm Ham. And this has been a Sandwich Shop production.
There you go. All right, y'all. See you later.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.